Hello and welcome to Pearls of Paradise. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, where I live with my husband and all of our yarn. Today we're doing something a little bit different, so if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're hanging out with me and our community today. If you would like more of a normal flavor of podcast, or to get an idea of what my podcast is really about, head on over to one of my previous episodes or one of my Vlogmas videos. That should give you a little bit of a better idea. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this past year in 2023. I cannot wait to see where 2024 takes us. So I want to really quickly, before I get into the video itself, I just want to talk about what this video is not, what to expect, things like that. So what is this video? This is just a look back at my personal knitting journey for 2023. My journey won't look like yours. Yours will look different, and that is beautiful and wonderful, and the whole reason that we knit. I love watching videos like this, but sometimes comparison can creep in. This is not a place for comparison. Whatever you knit, however little or however much that you accomplished this year is amazing. And I am so proud of you for whatever that may be. Even if you didn't knit at all, I do have some viewers who just don't knit, and that's totally okay. I'm sure that you did amazing things. And if you're here watching this video, that means you survived the year, and that in and of itself is an incredible accomplishment. So let's not fall into the comparison trap. Whatever you did or did not do is just as amazing. Honestly, probably more so. So it is a place, though, to get some good ideas or pattern ideas or color inspiration or whatever patterns that maybe you saw on my podcast throughout the year that you thought, ooh, I want to make that. I do this all the time. And then I promptly forget about it, or I don't write it down, or I think about it and think, yeah, that would be a great project for insert time of year here, and I never get back to it. So this is another way that you can take a look and go, ooh, I think there was something I wanted to knit from back when. See if you see it. This video will be choppier than my normal videos. 2023 was the year where more than 50%, probably closer to 70 or 75% of the things that I knit are no longer in my possession. That being said, I will be popping pictures up on the screen so that you can see those. I believe I have finished object pictures for everything. And I will be showing you what I still have in my possession in person here. Anything that I have with me that is wearable, I will put on to show you how it wears. Some of those may be easier than others, and there will be one exception to that rule. So that's what you can expect. If you are a more recent viewer in like the last year, 6 months to a year, you know that I have kind of strayed away from notes. But I sat down this morning, I have a notebook, I went through all of the things, wrote some things down, so I will be looking at my notes. I will let you know for each object what the pattern is, what the yarn is, maybe a little bit about my experience knitting it, why I knit it, something like that. Maybe, probably not for every single item. And I will let you know if it's a free pattern or not. I will do my best to link everything down below. Not everything has links. And that's just a fact. That's just the way it is. I will not be linking to dyers who don't dye anymore, things of that nature. If the patterns are not available anymore or something like that, I will not link to that, obviously. So just be aware. I also do not have Ravelry project pages for everything in the video. Many things do have project pages, but several do not for various reasons. For many things, if you want more information, you can head to Ravelry, but don't be surprised if there's a few things that are not there. All right, let's get started. I broke this video down into categories. So how we're going to move through this, we're going to start with things outside our bodies. So holiday knits and baby knits, because I'm assuming everyone watching this is an adult or at least old enough to not fit in a baby knit. And if there are any babies watching, which there may be, hello, you are just not the target audience of this video. So we'll start there, and then we're going to move down the body. So we'll start with headwear, move into neckwear. There may garments, there may be some other categories sprinkled in, and we'll end with socks. And that's how we're going to move through. Before I go any further, I do want to tell you my total finished object count for 2023 with the caveat, it is not nearly as impressive as it may sound, and you will very quickly realize why it's not nearly as impressive as it sounds. So do not let that intimidate you. These are not this many individual things that I will be showing. It's a much smaller number. We're going to move through this pretty quickly, but I just want that caveat. You will not be sitting through me talking through every one of my finished objects. So my total count for 2023 for finished objects is 92, which is way higher than I anticipated. My knitting year just didn't go quite the way that I saw it, January 1st of 2023, and that is okay. But you will find out right away why 92 objects is not nearly as impressive as it sounds. And we are going to get through the first 54 right off the bat. Holiday knits. My very first finished object I'm going to share, the first 54, are the Jolly Pickles by Michelle Wilcox. This is a free pattern. It calls for, and I use the exact recommended yarn in the pattern, which is Red Heart Super Saver in the colorways Cherry Red, Soft White, Charcoal for the face, and Spring Green for the body. I filled them with various materials, including fiber fill, yarn ends, things of that nature. And I just threaded a strand of a metallic crochet thread. I have no idea what it even is. I inherited this through the top so that it can hang. I have talked at length about these throughout the latter half of the year, so I will not be talking a whole lot about them here. If you are interested, any of my previous episodes have pickles in the either thumbnail or in the title. You can check out one of those. I believe I talk about them as well on episode 31. So check there if you're interested. They do not have a Ravelry project page for many reasons. I knit 50 of these and sent them to the Netherlands for employees that are a part of my uncle's company that he works for. And then 4 were gift knits. This one was a gift for my husband for his cubicle. He brought it home so that I could show you all. But those are my first 54 finished objects, the Jolly Pickle by Michelle Wilcox. The next finished object I'm going to share is the Scamper stocking by Marley Bird. I used Picks City Tweed DK, which is the recommended yarn for this pattern, in the colorways Plum Wine, Snowbank, and the light pink here is Primrose. I had knit, I believe, the entire stocking in 2022 as part of her annual stocking along that happens around Christmas in July. But I did all of the light pink duplicate stitching in 2023 and added the leather tab. So that all took quite a bit of time. I'm very comfortable with this being a 2023 finished object. and we have thoroughly enjoyed it in our house this holiday season. It is not a free pattern anymore. It was at the time. No, I don't believe it ever was. I'm not positive if it was or not. But you can now get this pattern as part of Marley Bird's stocking course. I'm not sure if that's available for sale at this point. She sometimes puts patterns like that in a vault and brings them out at different times of the year. So take a look, keep an eye on her pages for more information about that. But that is the Scamper stocking. My last holiday knit for this year is the Besame Acebo, again by Marley Bird. This pattern was her 2023 stocking along, and at the time of this recording, it is still a free pattern over on her website. I used Picks City Tweed DK again. I believe all of these colors were left over from stockings from previous years. So this is the colorway Orca, Blue Blood, Artichoke, and Cobalt. I absolutely love my color scheme for this. The dark, moody vibe is super fun, I think, for the holidays. Something a little bit different. It's a little more of a masculine look, and it has balanced our decor out a little bit, as the previous stocking I showed and this one have been hanging close together in our dining room all season. Now we'll move into baby knits. I had 4 friends or family members have babies this year. All 4 were girls, which is very exciting, but that meant a lot of baby knitting. So let me take you through all of those. Obviously, these are all gifts, so they have all left my possession. I will just quickly be talking about each of them and popping in pictures. The first baby knit that I made this year was for our niece Darcy, and it is the I Heart Rainbow sweater by Tin Can Knits. I used cornbread and honey sock in the color gray for the main color, and then most of the minis, 5 of them, were from Dye Mad Yarns. It was just a rainbow mini set. I know it's fingering weight, but the package that I bought did not have any other information on it. And then the 6th color, that beautiful purple, is a mini skein I got from Created For You by Laura in the colorway Spring Violet. I absolutely loved knitting this sweater. I really wish Tin Can Knits would come out with an adult version because I would totally wear it. This was such a fun knit for a sweet rainbow baby. And that baby is almost big enough to fit in her sweater. Almost. Next, I knit for my friend Rachel's daughter, Autumn. I knit the Unity Baby Hat by Mariana Mel. This is a free pattern, and I modified it to be in the round. The original pattern is knit flat and seamed. I made a small modification to do it in the round. The yarn is Stylecraft Special DK, which is 100% acrylic, in the color Plum. This is a really great, easy baby knit if you're looking for a quick baby gift for a baby shower. And it's great for baby boys, baby girls. It doesn't matter if you don't know the gender. This is the perfect little hat. The second thing that I knit for Little Miss Autumn were the Baby Booties by Florence Merlin. This pattern is a paid pattern and very worth it. It was quick and fun to knit. I used Bernat Baby Solids, which is 100% acrylic, in the colorway Soft Lilac. I did get to see a picture of Autumn wearing her hat and her booties, and she is just darling. The third item that I knit for a baby is for our niece Annalise. We did not know if she was going to be a boy or a girl at the time of her baby shower. Mom and Dad opted to be surprised and find out when she was born. So I knit the Flax by Tin Can Knits, which is a free pattern and is a great option for a first sweater. I used Cascade 220 Superwash Merino in the color December Sky. Annalise was just born about 6 weeks ago, maybe 6 or 8 weeks. So she's still a bit too small for her sweater, but I cannot wait until she's big enough to wear it. The last thing that I knit for a baby for 2023 is, I want to say, the Key or Kai, I'm not sure, Cardigan by Leila Raven. I used Cascade 220 Superwash Merino in Violet Ice, and I knit that for my friend Lauren's baby, who is not big enough yet to wear it, but it will be a great piece for her come spring. I thoroughly enjoyed that piece, and it might be one of my most favorite knits of 2023. The next category is headbands, and all 3 of the headbands I knit came from the book Knitting Vintage by Claire Montgomery. So you can find that on Amazon, at your local library, or maybe a used bookstore. So this is the Emerald Turban, and I used HanaMadeIt's Double Danger DK in the colorway Something Blue. You'll hear HanaMadeIt mentioned quite a bit in this podcast. She no longer dyes, so none of her yarns will be linked down below. This is probably my least worn, least enjoyed finished object of 2023. I would like to, possibly in 2024, take it apart and re-seam it to see if I can get it to lay better. I do think part of why it did not get worn very much is I just don't know how to style it very well. I don't feel like it's necessarily maybe the most flattering thing on me, but I do feel that if I re-seamed it and retwisted it, that maybe I could get it to lay a little bit better and feel more confident wearing it. As you can see, I don't like this. I don't like the way it looks in the back. Yeah, it didn't end up being something that I wore a whole lot. So I'm considering doing that. If I do that and I'm still not happy with it, it would make just a great little skinny scarf. I don't know that it's long enough for an adult, but I have lots of nieces and nephews who could use a little skinny scarf either for themselves or for a doll or something. So that's the Emerald Turban, and I would say my least worn, probably least favorite finished object of 2023. My next 2 headbands are the same pattern. They are both the multicolored Alice band, again from the book Knitting Vintage by Claire Montgomery. This was one of my most worn items in 2023. I wore this a lot over the summer. This one is knit in Malabrigo Finito in the colorway Chameleon. And it has these nice long ties that are just I-cord. They're great for tying it back. I have one that I finished right at the end of 2023, another one. I actually started knitting this at Darcy's baby shower. And this one is out of Tina's Twisted Fibers on her Ultra Fingering base in the colorway Butterfly Wings. I love how this one turned out. Let me show you how it looks on, and I'll show you this one, how it looks off. So here they are reversed. The Malabrigo one is off. You can see that. And my Tina's Twisted Fibers one is on. I love these headbands. I love how they wear. I love how they look. I would really like to make at least one more in 2024. Going forward, I think it would be nice to make one a year. They're great for in the summer as just a little hair accessory. And because they're fingering weight, they don't get hot or anything, but they are really nice for holding my hair back out of my face on those hot summer days. The next category is hats. I knit a total of 8 hats this year. The first hat is the Game Day 2022 knitting version by Marley Bird. This pattern is still free over on her website. I will post a picture of my finished hat here. I believe I ended up donating it, but I'm not entirely sure. I may have given it as a gift. I don't remember for sure. I knit this using various acrylic leftovers. I believe there was some Karen Simply Soft in there, some Vanna's Choice, but I'm not entirely sure what everything was. I wasn't even sure at the time that I knit it. I have found over the last couple of years that I personally prefer wearing yarn that is not acrylic, or if it has acrylic in it, that it's a blend. I prefer that over straight 100% acrylic for most things. There are definitely exceptions to that rule, but I didn't like the way that this hat felt on my head for me personally, although there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful, beautiful hat. So after knitting it and trying it on, I decided to move it along to someone who would use it and appreciate it. My next hat was the Copycat CC Beanie by Emily Ingrid. I knit this for my sister-in-law, Katie, for her birthday. This is a free pattern and was really easy and enjoyable to knit. I knit this up in Laughing Cat Fibers Superwash Merino Worsted in the colorway Butterfly Nebula. Laughing Cat Fibers is another name you're going to hear a lot about throughout this podcast. I would highly encourage you to check out her yarn. The third, fourth, and fifth hats I knit are all the same pattern. It is the Clayoquot. I may be pronouncing it wrong. I'm so sorry if I am. The Clayoquot Toque by Tin Can Knits. I knit 2 of these in Picks City Tweed DK leftovers. I knit 1 of those for my brother Jared, 1 for my sister-in-law Katie, and then I knit my husband this one in West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece Blue-Faced Leicester DK. This was leftovers from a shawl that you will see in a few minutes in the colorways Ravine. The green there is Forest, and it's hard to see the gray, but there's gray in there, and that is Fossil. I will put this on. It is not my hat. This is my husband's, and my hair's in a ponytail, so this is not the best way to show off a hat, but this is how it fits. Obviously, I really enjoyed knitting these. I knit 3 of them. It is a free pattern, and I would highly recommend it. I do have plans to knit myself one with some more leftover Picks City Tweed DK scraps. So if you are looking for a scrappy project, Hello Minnie Mal, Giant Minnie Mal 2023. If you're looking for a scrappy idea, this is it. Go check that pattern out. The next hat I knit is one I have knit many times, but have only knit 1 this year. I will put a picture up on the screen. This is the Classic Ribbed Hat by Pearl Soho. I knit this for my brother Jared in a skein he purchased for me. And it is the Fiber Seed Sprout DK in Tropical Vibes. This is a wonderful, easy, free pattern. It's just a simple 1x1 ribbed hat, which gives it a lot of stretch and means it's going to fit a lot of different heads, especially if you're not sure, how big somebody's head is. This is a great pattern. The next hat that I knit is the Enchanted Evening Cap by Amie Ochsenfeld. This is a free pattern, and it's also a new pattern. It just was released back in December of 2023. I knit it in HanaMadeIt's Double Danger DK in the colorway Backyard. This hat is for either myself or my husband. We cannot decide who gets this one. I will be knitting more of these in 2024 for sure. It's a very nice double brimmed hat. It's so cozy. It's just stockinette. It's a great pattern. Go check it out. And it is nice and warm. I like that it lays double thick on my ears. It is a lovely, super easy hat pattern. Definitely give this one a try. The final hat I knit for 2023 was the Sockhead Slouch hat by McClure. This is a free pattern and just takes one skein of fingering weight yarn. I used Tina's Twisted Fibers in her Superwash Blueface Leicester fingering, and the colorway is Fall Whispers. It's a really nice slouchy hat that kind of works for everybody. It's got just a little bit of slouch, not a ton. And I love how it turned out in this yarn. It's so cozy without being too warm. So if you're looking for a nice slouchy hat pattern, this is a great one. I know lots and lots of people have knit it. Maybe you have too. This would be a wonderful one to even stripe in some mini skeins from your advents for the giant mini mal. That's a great idea. Or just one skein of special fingering weight yarn would be perfect. Our next category is jewelry. I knit 2 necklaces this year. This was the first one and was my first finished object for the year. It is Ursula's Seashell Necklace by Tanis Gray and comes from her book Knitting with Disney. This came in a kit, so it came with the cord that has a clasp already on it and the yarn, which is the Lemonade Shop Sparkle DK in Atomic Banana. This was a really easy, really fun little afternoon kind of project. I had knit part of it during 2022 and part of it during 2023, but this was my first actual 2023 finished object. I love it. Ursula is one of my favorite Disney characters, so I love that I have a replica of her necklace. My second piece of jewelry that I knit in 2023 was the Game Day Cowl 2023 by Marley Bird. So you knit these little bead covers using beads. That was really fun. It was a new skill for me. I had never done anything like that. I had planned to make more knit jewelry this year and kind of forgot about it. Pulling this out today reminded me, so maybe 2024 will have some more knit jewelry pieces. I had a blast making this, and it is still free on her website. The yarn I used is Knit Picks Galileo in the colorway Meteor. I had lots of leftovers from a shawl that I knit in 2022, and this was a great way to use up a tiny bit of those. Here are those beads a little bit closer up just so that you can see how they've worn. I haven't worn this in quite a while, but I did wear it a good amount right after I made it for probably a few months until we got closer to summer when it got warmer and I didn't want such a heavy piece of jewelry on. But it's really pretty and was really fun to knit. The next category is shawls and cowls. I knit 6 things that fit into this category this year. I will show you each of the ones that I still have in my possession kind of splayed out first, and then I will put them on so that you can see how I style them. The first one I knit this year was the Mini Me 2023 Cowl by Cozy Up Knits. If you are thinking of participating in my Giant Mini Mal 2024, this would be a great pattern for that. It uses one main skein of fingering weight And I believe there are some different options on how many mini skeins to use. I used 9 minis. So I know the main color is the Nothing. I do not recall any of the other colorway names, and I'm not going to go through all of those here. That information, if you're interested, is on a Ravelry project page for this pattern. As I put this on, I'll tell you about the yarn. The yarn is on the Reliant Sock Base by HanaMadeIt, and it was part of her 2021 Advent, and the theme was The Never Ending Story, that movie. As I've said previously, she no longer dyes, so I will not be linking to her yarn. But this is pretty much how I wear it. I usually style it up a little bit more. But I love a good crescent-shaped shawl. I love how cozy it is. Actually, this is a semicircle, but I love both shapes. It's very cozy, very warm, and the colors kind of go with everything. So I wore this a lot last winter. I anticipated getting a lot of wear this winter too. It goes great under a jean jacket or over just a long sleeve tee. It's a really wonderful shawl, and I would highly encourage you to knit it. I'm going to take it off and just show you as well. This one is reversible, which I really love, so you don't have to worry about whether or not you're on the right side. All of the stitches are made to be reversible. So it's a lovely one. Definitely check it out, especially if you're looking for a project for the giant mini Mal. The next shawl that I finished for 2023 was the 2022 mystery knit along the Cozy Up Knits did. It is the Throwing It Back, again by Cozy Up Knits. This is another one that would be great to use up some mini skeins. This is more, it's a shawl, but it's called a shawl, but I think you could categorize it as a shawl, a wrap, or a scarf, really. It's just a long knit on the bias, rectangular kind of scarf. And it was so much fun to knit. I'm going to just sort of go through this slowly so that you can see all of the different motifs and the way the colors play. And then I will put it on and talk about the yarn. Come on, there we go. So this, the yarn is all Knit Pixtrol. The main color is Knit Pixtrol Tonals, and the color I used was Pearlescent. And then in Knit Pixtrol, and all fingering weight solids, I used Dandelion, Pucker, and Electric Blue. I absolutely love this. Sorry about that. My blinds are right there. Absolutely love how this turned out. It's very neon, very kind of 80s vibes. So sometimes I wear it wrapped once with long tails. Sometimes I wrap it twice under a coat or something with shorter tails. Sometimes I tie this. Sometimes I like loop it. It all depends on how I'm feeling that day, how I want to style it. I'm not being real fussy at the moment since I'm on a video with y'all, but this got a decent amount of wear. It was probably not my most worn shawl this year, mainly because of the shape. For me personally, I find that if I wear one of these indoors, I can sometimes get a little bit too warm if I'm at work or something. Although I do like to wear it like this, where I can adjust it pretty easily to be cozied up around my neck if I want it to, or I can kind of zhuzh it out a bit and show off more of the pattern while having it a little lower and giving a little more breathing room right at my neck and chest. It's still a wonderful pattern. I absolutely love it, and I love the way it turned out. Definitely give it a look. My next finished object in this category is one that is no longer in my possession. It is the Turkey Trot 2022 by Marley Bird. And this was a really fun bandana style kind of color work cowl. It was just gorgeous. I knit it with Knit Picks Upcycle Alpaca Blend Worsted in the colors Biscotti, Azul, and Parchment. I had fully intended on this being for me, but my brother slept over one weekend, wore it the entire weekend, and I could tell he did not want to take it off. So I told him he could have it. I have more of this yarn that I'm planning maybe this year. We'll see if it happens in 2024. On knitting a sweater for myself. So that cowl is now in his possession. He just wore it a couple weeks ago. I know he loves it and it's getting a lot of wear. So that's really great. And I do not believe that that one is available as a free pattern anymore. But you, I think, can still purchase that pattern. Again, go to marleybird.com, look up Turkey Trot 2022, and you can get all the information there. My next finished object is a shawl that I knit for my husband. It is the Mammatus by Gabrielle Matthews. I had knit one for myself in 2022 when I tested the pattern for the designer. And I hadn't even finished knitting it, and my husband knew he wanted one. And we went to a yarn show right after I started testing it, and he bought himself this yarn for me to make him this shawl. You've already seen the yarn in his Clayoquot hat that I showed earlier. But just a refresher, this is West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece Blueface Leicester DK in the colorways Ravine, Fossil, and Forest. So there are a lot of beautiful stitch patterns in here. He wears this all of the time. I knit this for him. I think I finished it early this fall maybe, or late in the summer. I don't remember exactly when. And he wears this probably 4 to 5 times a week minimum. He wears it almost every day. It looks so nice on him. I will put pictures of him wearing his own shawl in here. And he wants more shawls for sure. So we'll see. There may be some coming for him this coming year. Maybe I want to knit more shawls for myself too, but he's super knit worthy, as you may know if you've been around and as you'll see throughout this episode. So he is loving his Mammatus. My next finished object in this category was one of my largest, if not the largest, finished object for 2023. And that was my Vertices Unite shawl by Stephen West. I knit the largest size, and it does not even fit in the camera. If you have been around, you have heard a lot about this year. All of this yarn is from Fangirl Fibers, her 2022 Disney Yarn of the Month Club, and was a great way to use some of those skeins. So this pinkish orange purple color here that I've striped with the white is Tale as Old as Time, inspired by Beauty and the Beast. That white that you see there actually has speckles in it, but it's easier to see in its own section here. That section is, this colorway is Glitch, inspired by Wreck-It Ralph. This is Best Day Ever, inspired by Tangled. This one is Sisu, inspired by Raya and the Last Dragon. And then the last color is striped in both places that I used it. It's that blue. I used it here, and I also used it here. And that one is Under the Sea, inspired by The Little Mermaid. I do have yarn left from all 5 skeins. I am trying to come up with some other ideas to use those leftovers. I may marl a couple together and use them in a hat, or I may make some scrappy socks. I'm not sure. I just finished this relatively recently, but I am finding that I really enjoy wearing it. It is big. It is a shanket, a shawl blanket, basically, but it is so lovely. I love the colors. It's so squishy, and it's really a great shawl for around the house. It is wonderful to wear on my way to work on a chilly morning, when it's really cold, because I can bunch it up. It is wonderful. So I do wear it like this quite often, but I have found, especially wearing it at home, I find myself with the shape of this, which is not quite triangular. It's got a unique, kind of a unique shape. I find myself wearing it like this, sometimes even tying it in the front a lot. It's a nice extra cozy layer. It's like being able to wrap myself in a blanket, but still have my hands and arms free. Let me check here. This is a paid for pattern, but I would highly recommend it. There is a smaller size if this intimidates you that is much smaller and probably more manageable to knit, but I am so glad I knit it in the giant size to use up as much yarn as I possibly could. The last pattern in my shawls and cowls category is my most recent cowl finish. This is the Waymaker cowl by Amanda Massengill, more commonly known on the internet as Mandy's Makings. This took 2 skeins of DK weight yarn. The blue is from Lola Bean Yarn Co. on the Pinto Bean base in the colorway Troll Law. And the hot pink is from Fangirl Fibers, and it's 100% Superwash Merino DK in the colorway Cliff Fairy. I just finished this a few weeks ago, so I haven't had a lot of opportunity to wear it, but I just love that bright pop of color. This is going to be so nice on these gray wintry days when I just need something squishy and fun. It was a great knit, super easy, super enjoyable, and yeah, I would highly recommend it. Again, that's a free pattern, so definitely give it a look. I think that this will be one of my most knit pieces most worn pieces this coming winter season. I wasn't really sure where to put the next category, and it only has one finished object anyways. So our next category is hands. And I finished the Marvelous Minis Mitts, which again, minis, these are mini skeins that I used for this. And this is a pattern by Mina Phillip, who is Knitting Expat Designs. This was definitely a labor of self-love. It's 2 skeins of fingering weight that is not brioche. I think it's like fisherman's rib or half fisher, I don't know, something, but I know it's not brioche, even though it looks like it. The end result is stunning. I will say I did not thoroughly enjoy knitting this pattern personally. It was a little bit fiddly for me. But as I went on, I started to enjoy it more and more, and I love the end result. It was totally worth the effort and the fiddliness. They are nice and cozy. I have been wearing these a lot, and I am really glad to have a beautiful pair of fingerless mitts. These came as part of a Lady Dye Yarns kit that was a Schitt's Creek inspired Moira's Roses Gardens kit. If you know, you know. And the colorways were, the pink is no roses and the gray is apostrophes. I am so pleased with how these turned out. They are one of my most impressive knits to me this year, even though they're one of the smaller ones, and they have been keeping my hands nice and cozy all fall and winter so far. This next category is the body category. So these are garments, adult garments that are worn on the body. I will be trying on all of these except for two for you. One is my husband's that he is wearing today and he is not here. And the other one is one that I am just not going to try on. Our first one I will though, so let me go change. If you've been around the knitting community for any length of time, you probably already know what my first sweater of this category is. It is the Ranunculus by Midori Heroes. I knit one several years ago that's a summer version in some synthetic yarn, and I really wanted a woolly winter version. And this fits the bill. So the yarn is Kelborn Woolen's Scout DK in the colorway Moss Heather. This might be my most worn, if not my most worn, one of my close items that I knit this year. I did sleeves that go just past the elbow. I did the little balloon detail. One of these sleeves I did correct. The other one I did wrong, but not wrong enough to bother me. It does have a split hem on the bottom. I will put a picture in from when I finished it so that you can see those details. It has worn fairly well. There is pilling. Pilling doesn't really bother me though. It just shows that the garment has been loved and worn and used. But if it bothers you, I think it would come off pretty easily with a gleaner. This is one of my favorite colors in the whole world and one of my favorite colors to wear. So to have a sweater in it is pretty special. If you have not knit the Ranunculus yet, put it on your list for 2024. It is a great pattern. Even if you've never knit a sweater before, it's really clear. There are tutorials all along the way, and it's just a really good one. So add that to your list. And this is my super cozy, comfy Ranunculus. My next finished object in the body category is the one I won't be trying on for you. This is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Made Designs. I know a lot of people have knit this. I thought this would be one of my most worn finished objects of 2023, and it has not been, and I'll get into why in a minute. I knit this out of Laughing Cat fibers in her 3-ply fingering, and the colorway is Salmon Run. The colorway is available on a lot of bases. It's one of her ones that she will never retire, which makes me so happy because it's gorgeous, but she no longer has this base. I bought it, the yarn, years ago. The reason it has not gotten a lot of wear, this, I'm a larger busted person, and this does not offer much support at all. I also wish I had knit it, especially maybe the ribbing, a little bit longer, just to give myself a little more coverage. That being said, I have found that I do enjoy wearing this when I just want a little something underneath a shirt, like in the evening or whatever, or when I want just a little bit of fun peekaboo with the straps. That's fun too. And yeah, it also is nice when I want just a tiny bit of extra warmth, but nothing too crazy. This does provide that. It's the straps cross in the back. It's kind of hard to see. But I just don't think it's worth showing you this on. I'm just not going to do that. So there we go. This is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Made Designs. Even after I've said that I didn't wear it a whole lot this year, I may knit another one of these. I've toyed with the idea. I believe she has the same style, but in a tank top version. That might be more what I want to do. But yeah, I might want to play around with it and modify a second one just because I did have a blast knitting this. It is a really fun knit. And if you're not super hung up on whether or not you want to wear the finished object all the time, or if you're a smaller busted person, it would probably work way better for you. I would give it a go. It was a really fun knit. My next finished object in the body category got a ton of wear this year. I absolutely love everything about it, and it is probably the piece I get complimented on the most when I wear it. So this is the Magnolia Lane cardigan by Crafts Everywhere, and I knit it in We Are Knitters The Cotton in the colorway Terracotta. It is not nearly as bright in real life as it's showing up on screen. It's a more muted, it looks just like a terracotta planter, like that exact color, maybe slightly brighter, but not this much. It's got a bunch of dropped stitches, which were really fun, and single color Latvian braids. I knit a lot of this in the car during my husband and I's 10th anniversary trip over back in the spring of 2023, and it was super enjoyable. It's got a nice open boxy fit. It was the perfect cool cardigan to throw on over a tank top or a t-shirt over the summer. I absolutely love wearing this. It's great over little dresses too. And I see this getting a ton of wear for years and years to come. I would highly recommend knitting one if you're looking for a summery or spring cardigan. This is the Confetti Crop Top by Knititude. I knit this also in the late spring, early summer. If I remember correctly, I believe this was my birthday cast on for 2023. In fact, I know it was. And it really got a lot of wear. It is knit in HanaMadeIt in her halo fingering in the colorway Feline. Again, you can't get her yarn anymore, so I'm trying to use it up. That's why there's been so much HanaMadeIt yarn this year that I used. But this is a merino linen blend. I believe it has 10% merino, so it's got a lot of drape. I love this pattern. It was so easy to knit. I really enjoyed it, and I wore this a ton. It was so great to wear this with a high-waisted, like cotton or linen skirt or high-waisted linen pants. I don't like a lot of midriff showing, so I did do high-waisted, but you don't have to. I knit this with lots and lots of ease. It was drapey and flowy. Not great for the hottest days of summer, but for cooler days or days when you're in and out of air conditioning, this was really nice. I wore it a ton last year and anticipate wearing it a ton more in 2024. One of the finished objects I was most proud of this year was a sample knit for Marley Bird for her 2023 Turkey Trot. It was this beautiful cardigan, which at the time I knit it did not have a name, so I am just calling it my Turkey Trot cardigan. Like I said, this was a sample knit, so I was paid to knit this, and she provided the yarn. I shipped all that back to her. It was knit in Karen Macchiato Cakes, which is a bulky weight yarn in the colorway, I want to say it was Bewitched or Bewitching, something along those lines. I did try to verify that, but the yarn, it appears, has been discontinued or is sold out or something. So I can't verify that, but I knit this sweater in the size 2X in, I believe, 10 days. Very quick turnaround. It was a lovely pattern. I do have yarn and have cast on for one for myself in the colorway Lovely, but that is a project for 2024. My last finished object in the body category is the Man's Zippered Vest by Jacqueline Van Dillen, and that is available in the Knit Simple magazine, their Winter 2016 edition. This was my final finished object of 2023 and was a huge labor of love. I knit this in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Tweed in the colorway Lighthouse Heather. And I knit it for my husband in the smallest size. It was the first time I've ever put a zipper in my hand knits, so I opted to hand stitch the entire piece. It is seamed and worked bottom up. I have not spoken about the finished piece on the podcast yet. That will be coming in the next episode in a few weeks. He is really enjoying wearing his vest, and I think it will be a piece he wears for years to come. It was not an easy project. There were a lot of things that took some real thought and attention to detail, but I am so pleased with how it turned out, and he loves it, which makes my heart so happy. The last category for things I knit in 2023 are socks. I knit 5 pairs of socks, and I'm just going to run through those really quickly. I should preface this by saying I do wear all of my socks on a pretty regular basis, so you will see some signs of wear on them. They are all clean, but some of them have been pretty worn. These are my Rye Light socks. The pattern is by Tin Can Knits, and that is a free pattern. And this was done in a sock set by Ash and Bumble on their 80/20 base. And the sock set was called Autumnal Equinox. This was a great sock pattern. It took me forever to finish, and there wasn't really any particular reason. The yarn is lovely. I did drop a stitch on this one when I was closing up the toe. I'm not sure how I did that. And I have not actually gone in to repair it. I have just been wearing them like this. But that's on my list of things that I need to get done in probably the next week or so, because it has started to run a little further than I want. So I am going to pick that up and fix it. It's just one of those to-do things I have not gotten around to. But those are my first finished socks. My second pair of socks are just some vanilla socks that I knit. These also took me forever for absolutely no good reason. The black is Knit Picks in the colorway black, and the main color is from the Fangirl Fibers 2022 Disney Yarn of the Month Club in the colorway Prince Ali Ababwa, inspired by Aladdin. You're hearing Fangirl Fibers a lot. She is one of my favorite dyers. Hi, Emily. I absolutely love her yarn. I get it all the time. So that's a name you hear around here a lot. Anyways, there's my second finished socks. My next pair of socks for 2023 were these shorty pair of socks. I knit these out of leftovers. So Knit Pick Stroll in the fingering and the colorway Pucker, which you may remember I used in my Throwing It Back shawl. And then Knit Picks Felici in the Aquarium colorway. I had knit another pair of socks with Aquarium in 2022, I believe, and wanted to use the leftovers in this fun watermelon-inspired shorty pair. I knit these for Sock Week 2023, which is run by Natalie of the channel Knitty Natty and her Love and Stitches podcast. So these were my entry for that. And I knit these in a week, the pair, or 10 days, or however long it was. It was kind of crazy that I did that. But I like these. I think they're super fun. They're very summery. And I did end up wearing them on some cooler summer evenings. And I think they'll get a lot of wear this coming spring. My next sock finish for 2023 is probably my most favorite pair of socks that I knit this past year. These are affectionately called my Charmander socks. The yarn was dyed inspired by Charmander, who is a Pokemon if you are not familiar. The yarn I used in the toes, heels, and cuffs is Cornbread and Honey, the colorway Gray. And that, you have already heard, was in my niece Darcy's sweater. And I believe, if I remember right, I was working on these socks when she was born. And maybe not that second, but you know, this was a work in progress when she was born. So that was really, really a special thing to have that, you know, have a piece of her sweater in my socks. And the main color is String Theory Colorworks Inertia Self-Striping. I do not remember the name of the colorway, and I did not have it written down in Ravelry. I don't believe it was like a preset one on Ravelry, and it was a science-y name. But I do know it was inspired by Charmander. I love these socks. I wear them a lot. And these might be my favorite socks from 2023. The last socks and the last thing I'll be showing you today in this video are my Hermione's Everyday Socks. This is a free pattern. I know a lot of people, many people have knit this pattern. It's by Erica Luder. And the yarn I used was a sock set from Solstice Fiber Studio. Love those ladies. And the colorway is the Salesman. I think this is from their Adventure Time collection, but I don't watch Adventure Time, so I don't get the reference. But these are those. It was a really nice textured sock. I feel like if I remember right, I didn't super enjoy the heel, but I found I just didn't enjoy knitting socks as much for the most part in 2023 as I had previous years. Not really entirely sure why, but it just wasn't a sock year for me. But I do wear all the socks I knit and I love them. So I'm hoping my sock mojo will really come back full force for 2024. If you have stuck around this long for all of this, thank you so much for joining me. If you've been around for my knitting journey in 2023, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see what 2024 brings, what projects we get into. This is also just my knits. I did have a few sewing finished objects and other things that I didn't talk about here today. Those you can find if you go back and watch my previous podcast episodes. If you are interested in seeing where my knitting journey takes me in 2024, please go like and subscribe to my channel and this video. I really hope that I see you in this new year. And I can't wait to see what we accomplish together, what you make. Let me know down below if you have any knitting plans. I will talk about my 2024 knitting plans on my next podcast episode. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. And I hope that your new year is off to a beautiful start. And I hope that you find lots of time in this new year to knit or craft or do whatever brings you joy in your little corner of paradise. And I'll be over here just knitting away in my little corner of paradise. I'll see you in a couple weeks, friends. Bye.